Hi, and welcome to Wrong Way. And yes, I'm back on my Sherman, at least for this video. So, what was wrong with it? Let me tell you more about it. Wrong Way. And before making this video, I just realized I never really made a proper acceleration test of this beast. So, here it is. Sadly, I did forget to turn on sound recording on my iPhone, but this test is legit. One of my fastest acceleration tests on the channel ever. And I was particularly happy about it since it wasn't so far off the Kujiroll's acceleration test in his video, which is insanely fast. But anyways, now that I told you about that, I'll tell you what was wrong with my Veteran Sherman and what are all in all its flaws in terms of long-term durability, and at the end of the video I'll also tell you why mine is broken again and how I broke it. Yes, I was just using it for a day or two. So after the bearing issue, which happened at around 3,500 kilometers when I had to change the bearings, the next issue happened around 1,000 kilometers later, which was a BMS failure. Initially, I didn't know what the issue was. Essentially, the Sherman just lifted its pedals up while riding. It said battery low, and that's it. It wouldn't let me ride anymore. And after consulting this issue with my e-wheel and Veteran Sherman, we found out that probably it's the BMS. I didn't shave off the separate plastic pieces on the inside part of the side covers, and probably they just pressed too hard during a fall, or you know, this wheel fell a lot of times, so maybe this was the problem with the BMS. And when we were changing the BMS, I did it at City Lion in Warsaw, and they did a really good job at changing this BMS. They checked it and they found out that indeed the BMS didn't have a connection point at one point. So yeah, we just got a new BMS from Veteran Sherman, or Leatt Kim fixed it, and yeah, as you can see in this video, it's rolling. But since the Veteran Sherman has been released, some time has passed already, a year or so. And during that time, many riders have purchased a wheel like that, and all over the world, they were enjoying it, but they were also finding flaws. What are the usual flaws of the Sherman? Let me tell you now. First of all, the issue that I had with the BMS also happened to other riders, and Leatt Kim addressed it by shaving off plastic pieces off of the inner walls of the side panels in generations after February or March 2021. So if you have a Sherman before that date, please remember to shave those pieces off. I don't know if this method helped 100% with 100% of the cases, but definitely it was a step in the right direction. The next issue was overheating or blowing the motherboard when climbing steep hills slowly, especially with heavier riders. So the motor in the Veteran Sherman is definitely a high-speed motor, and the motherboard, in terms of slow climbing hills, especially with heavier riders, gets kicked in the butt a lot. So if you want a wheel destined primarily for hill climbing and you are a heavier rider, i.e. over 90 kilograms or over 100 kilograms, there might be a higher likelihood of frying the Sherman when going into mountains and climbing a lot at slow speeds and in warmer weather, as the cooling system just doesn't provide enough cooling when riding slow on the Sherman. A RS high torque, or the Begode EX, or the upcoming EXN torque, might be a better choice then. The next feature that people didn't like so much about the Sherman in the beginning was the low pedal clearance. Now, in the newer Shermans, the pedal hangers are higher, but still the shell is quite low, and you do get pedal dipping, especially when accelerating and also when turning. So the Sherman doesn't feel maybe as fun and nimble as a Guads wheel just because of the response is different and you get a lot more pedal dipping, especially compared to the new hollow motor wheels by Guads. It's not that there's something wrong with the Sherman, it's just like a different ride. And if you have a experience like that as well, then feel free to comment below. Leaper Kim tried to address that with newer software versions and like a hard mode and extra hard mode, but the hard mode of the Veteran Sherman never felt like a hard mode on the other performance wheels, which is Guads. When I'm riding on the MSP, I feel like I can go slow, I can do hill climbs, I can turn confidently and sharply, and it doesn't also make me want to speed all the time. On the Sherman, I feel really locked out when I'm going slow on a sidewalk. Every time I'm going out on the Sherman, I just end up on the street because I want to go faster, want to go with the speed of cars, and it feels particularly great at accelerating, and it wants me to accelerate, and on straight lines, it's pretty awesome. But in terms of turning, even with the V2 rim, which I'm gonna tell you about also later, it just doesn't feel that fun like I would do it on a EXN or on a MSP or RS. Even the Monster Pro, I don't feel like the urge for speed that much. I feel comfortable going slow, going fast, making turns, and I think just the Sherman is not as much of a playful wheel as the other Guads wheels. But let me know in the comments below what is your opinion on that. Then there are also some issues with the rim. So recently I've heard of quite a bit of problems with the rim on the Veteran Sherman, especially the V2 rim, with people just breaking it, splitting it, with the rim just breaking in some places at the same time. So I'm curious to hear your opinion on that. Naturally, it's very important to ride the Sherman with higher pressure. I have it now at around 32 or 35 psi, just because I like going up curbs and I just don't want to bend my rim, and you know, then the wheel becomes very bouncy, and if not careful you can also get a speed wobble. But I just heard of a bit more than I would like to about issues with the newer rim. So I guess this is also another thing I wanted to talk about with the Veteran Sherman. I think the quality of metal or just the shape of the rim could be improved upon in future versions. But all of that doesn't say that the Sherman is a bad wheel. It's a great wheel and I like it a lot. It's small, portable, and has a huge battery with huge range. The waterproofing is amazing. Essentially, if you want to have a waterproof, powerful wheel now, out of the box, just the Sherman does it. It has an insane amount of power, it goes very quick, it has a roll cage, the lights are great, and it is a phenomenal wheel, a phenomenal means of transportation. I think it's not as playful and not as fun to ride around than, for example, a EXN or a RS, but it's still a lot of fun to zip around. You can jump of it, but it's a bit heavy. Like if you throw it around in corners, you can feel it. So yeah, I guess this is a couple of things I wanted to say about the Sherman, and now I can tell you how I broke it again. So since a long time I wanted to make a high torque version of the Veteran Sherman, because I thought that would be just, you know, the thing. Like the RS has 2 motor versions, it would be super awesome to have a HT Veteran Sherman. So I went to rewire the motor to have more copper windings, so we have more torque but less top speed. And this also took a while, but finally I had the motor, and today we were replacing it, and the company also replaced the Hall sensors. So I thought it might work, but in the end we turned it on and it didn't want to balance, and we thought that the phase wires were just, you know, turned around, but we turned around the phase wires and then turned on the Sherman again, and it rattled a bit, it couldn't balance, and then we saw a spark on the motherboard. So yeah, just fried the motherboard with it. And this just goes to show you that, yeah, it's very hard to rewire a motor for a wheel and make it work. So I thought it would be a plug-and-play solution. Maybe the controller would need to learn how to deliver power to the new copper windings. Maybe there was something wrong with the Hall sensors and they just weren't capable to communicate with the motherboard. But there was no error message on the screen, so yeah, that's that. So anyways, the Sherman is dead again, and at the 9th, which is in a week or so, we're going on a big tour around Europe. We'll be in Amsterdam for the protest, we'll be on the Electric Games, we'll go to Barcelona, and we'll go to Bulgaria again, and we wanted to take a MSP and the Sherman again. So yeah, that sucks. And if anybody from you has a spare Sherman motherboard laying around in Europe for sale, let me know. We're looking for a motherboard now, and hopefully we'll find one just in time. But yeah, I guess learn from my mistake. Don't rewire a Sherman motor and put it into the Sherman. Yeah, I guess it won't bring you any good. So with that said, this is my small short rant about the Veteran Sherman. Still love this wheel, great wheel. It's just not perfect, and we're still waiting for the perfect wheel in the electric wheel world. So if you're still here, leave a like on the video, subscribe to see more content like this. I'll see you in the next video. See you soon.